now we are going to study that how the reaction is taking place. So when we study about that how the reaction is taking place, we can study you can say under two levels. We can study on the basis of macroscopic level, that what kind of changes do you get to see from naked eye, right? And the other thing is that we get to see the occurrence of chemical reaction on the molecular level. So that means you can say at macroscopic level and molecular level we get to see certain kind of changes when the chemical reaction take place. So see what kind of change do you get to observe when it is occurring at macroscopic level. Suppose I have a reaction in which AB combines to form AB, A and B combines to form AB. I have this chemical reaction, right? So what I get to see with the span of time, whether it is fast or slow, what kind of change I am going to I'll get to see at microscopic level. I'll get to see that there will be a decrease in concentration of reactants and increase in concentration of product. So this is the change what I can get to see, right? Like if I just this thing you can say if I add this thing vinegar to boiled milk, what I'll get to see that yes, it will form a cheese, paneer, you know that. So what happens when you just add vinegar to it, the amount of milk start lowering down, and the amount of the cheese which you get start increasing. So that means at macroscopic level what you get to see that the concentration of reactor is decreasing and concentration of product is increasing. So this kind of change you can get to see at macroscopic level. But if we talk about molecular level, do you know that what actually we get to see? We get to see a different kind of phenomena occurring actually. So just listen to me carefully, I am telling you again in detail. What happens at molecular level? See, for a chemical reaction to occur, the reactants has to collide. One thing you have to keep in mind, right? What? That for the reaction to occur, the reactants must collide among themselves. If they will not collide, the reaction will definitely not going to take place. But if they will collide, then only the reaction is going to take place. So that means the first condition for the reaction to occur is that the reactants must collide. Then only the reaction will occur, right? So there is you can say the first limitation for the chemical reaction to occur is that the collision, right? Now what happens when the reactants collide? So that means when the reactants are coming together to collide, so they are continuously bumping each other, right? They are just colliding each other, they are bumping each other. So what happens when they are colliding or bumping each other? This result in the breaking of the older bonds and result in the formation of the new bonds. This is what we need actually, right? Because the chemical reaction, that means the product will not be formed when the old bonds are not broken and the new bonds are not formed. And for this what we need the collisions to occur, and the collisions should be elastic, or you can say effective. Effective collision is that which actually result in the breaking of bond, and you can say as a result we can get new bonds. But if so that means, again I am repeating, see, for the reaction to occur there has to be a collision, right? And the collision should be, what should be the nature? It should be effective, that means it should be elastic collision, that means the effective which actually break the bonds, right? And the third is that when they just there will be a collision frequency, that means how many number of molecules are just colliding with each other, how many reactants are colliding with each other if we consider in 1 second, right? So that means the collision frequency has to be high. So what you get to see at molecular level, this is what you get to see. Like I'll just draw in a figure. Suppose I have this container and I have reactants in it. Suppose I'm showing this reactant A and I'm showing the B reactant with marker red. Right, and this is what we get to see AB. So what happens? There are many black ones and many red ones and many blue ones. So what they do, these black ones and red ones, they just move like here and there like this, and they just keep on colliding with the other one, that is the A. So they are continuously colliding, moving away each other, and they result in the formation of product. So at molecular level, that means we get to see that the reactants are continuously bumping each other, that results in the breaking of the bond and the formation of the new bond, and this is what we actually need, because this is the reason that we are going to get the product, right? So this is what is what is occurring at the molecular level. So when I talk about, when somebody asks you about that how the reaction is taking place, so ask him that whether he is asking on a macroscopic level or at molecular molecular level, and likewise answer accordingly. Like if he's asking you on macroscopic level, you know that there will be decrease in concentration of reactant and increase in the concentration of product with the passage of time. And when he's talking about the molecular level, so just tell him that yes, the collision is definitely the collisions are going to occur, because when they will bump each other, then only the bonds are broken and the new ones are formed. Now I'm just going to explain that how what is the rate of reaction actually, or what we get to see with the passage of time. So just look at the board. I'm just going to illustrate an example in which I'll be taking the reactant as cars, right? So see what I'm taking. I am plotting here again I'm explaining you, I am taking reactant as a car, right? So I'm just considering is distance time graph. So here on this axis I am plotting distance, and on this axis I am plotting time. So what happens, a car starts from this point A and just move, speed up, slows down, speed up, slows down, speed up, slows down, speed up, slows down, and finally stop at B, right? So if somebody asks you now that what is the average speed of this car, like which is moving from A to B, so how you are going to calculate its average speed? Obviously you know that it is total distance upon total time. So what total distance it has travelled? It has travelled from A to B, so obviously the total distance is going to be AB. And when we talk about time, so obviously the time taken is T. So this is actually the average speed of the car, right? But if I talk, see again I'm telling you, when you talk about average, it means the total, right? So when I talk about average speed, it means the total distance, like the time, total time, which is you can say used up in covering the total distance, right? So how we calculate average speed? We do it by total distance dividing by total time. So here I took the total distance as AB and total time as T. But if I want to look like if the car hasn't reached point B and it is traveling, it is in mid of the route, and I just want to know its speed at this specific instant of time. Suppose I just want to know its speed at this point C. Let us consider C. So now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to draw a tangent, and the tangent will just represent as instantaneous speed, that is the speed that the car possesses at that particular instant of time, that is at point C. So what is going to be instantaneous speed? Definitely the speed which we are observing at a specific instant of time. And what actually it is going to be? A small distance and small change in interval of the time interval. So that means the small change in distance with the small change in time. So this is actually is the instantaneous speed, right? So as you all are aware of this thing that we can like in case of car we can find the average speed and instantaneous speed like this. So likewise we can find the rate of the reaction as average rate or the instantaneous rate. But before I just explain you that what actually happens with the reaction, just look at one graph. I am drawing it for a chemical reaction now. So see, I am drawing this graph for a chemical reaction. As I told you, at microscopic level what happens, there is a decrease in concentration of reactant and there is increase in concentration of product. So I am just going to denote this decrease in concentration of reactant and increase in concentration of product graphically. Just look at the board. So what happened? I get to see this graph and I get to see this. Right. So what actually, this is the concentration versus time. Right. So what I get to see in this, I get to see that this graph here, the concentration is decreasing, and we know that when the chemical reaction proceeds, decrease in concentration is only for the reactants. So obviously this line is denoted reactants. And we know that there is as shown in the figure, there is an increase in concentration with time, and we know that the increase is definitely for the products. So obviously this line is denoting products, right? So what do you get to see here? That means there is decrease in concentration of reactant with time and there is increase in concentration of product with time. So if somebody is going to ask you about the rate, so how you are going to explain the rate of reaction? You are going to say that because we can answer in terms of reactant, we can answer in terms of product. So as a whole, like in general, if you want to answer, you will answer in this way, that rate of reaction is something change in concentration of chemical species with divided by the time actually taken in which that change is being observed. That means change in the concentration of chemical species divided by the time in which you are observing that change. So this is something is called as rate of reaction. Now there is a this thing, like as you saw that there is a decrease in concentration of reactant. So I can write this formula as this also, decrease in concentration of reactant with time or increase in concentration of product with time. And if I need to write it mathematically, how I am going to write, because there is decrease in concentration of reactant, so I can write minus delta in bracket R delta T. Minus means decrease, delta means change, bracket means concentration of reactant with change in time. And if I need to write in term of product, how I am going to write? Change in concentration of product with respect to time. Again it is going to be positive in this because the concentration is increasing, not decreasing. Like if it is decreasing, then only you have to denote with the negative sign, otherwise you need to put positive sign for product. So this is how mathematically I can express the rate of reaction into this thing, minus delta R upon delta T, that is the decrease in concentration of reactant, and delta P upon delta T, that is the increase in concentration of product. So this is how we just explain the rate of reaction. So as you saw in this example that like the rate at which the car was traveling, we calculated the speed in as average speed and instantaneous speed. So similarly we can find the rate of reaction in two ways, that is the average rate and instantaneous rate. What is the average rate? That means the total time which is being taken to this thing for the total change that occur in the concentration of any chemical species, whether it is reactant or a product. And but when we talk about instantaneous, that means there what kind of change we get to see in a chemical species in a small change in time. That means for that particular instant of time what kind of change we observe. So when we write average rate, right, so when we are going to write average rate, we are just going to denote in this case as I denoted here minus delta R upon delta T and delta P upon delta T. Like I will write an example for you. See, suppose I have this reaction, right, and I need to write average rate. So how I am going to write average rate, because these are reactants, so obviously I am going to denote their concentration in negative. So minus delta A, concentration of A, delta T is equal to decrease in change in concentration of B with change in time is equal to change in concentration of C with change in time is equal to change in concentration of D with change in time. So this is how I am going to denote the average rate. But if I want to write the instantaneous rate, so how I am going to denote that instantaneous rate? I will write the small change in concentration of reactant with small change in time. And if I need to write in terms of product, I will be writing that increase in the concentration or change in the concentration of product with change in time. So this is how we are going to denote the average rate and the instantaneous rate. I think it's clear that first of all you should know that what is the rate of reaction. It is just a change in the concentration of chemical species with change in time. And we know that the concentration of reactant decrease and concentration of product increase. So this is how I have written this. Now the rate are of two types. Average, when we are considering the total reaction, the total time, that means the reactant took that time to change into product. So this is how I have written this. And for instantaneous, that means we are just looking for the concentration, change in the concentration with the small change in time, that is for that particular instant. Now if somebody asks you that how, like demonstrate with an example why you took the concentration of reactant as negative. So just look at the board. I am just explaining you the reason behind. What happens, suppose when we start this reaction the time is 0. Right, I am writing that initial concentration of A, let's take it as it is 10 moles. And the concentration of C is 2 moles. We are just considering A and C, or you can say we are considering reactant or product, right. So initially when we start the reaction, when the time is 0, reactants are 10 moles and product are 2 moles. But with a short span of time, like if the time becomes T, then what happens, we get to see the concentration of reactant falls to 5 molar and the concentration of product became 6 moles, right. So now if I need to calculate the change in concentration of delta R, so that means final minus initial, So see what answer you are going to get. You are going to get in minus. They state that with the passage of time, the concentration of reactant decrease. That is why I put negative sign here. And when I consider the concentration of product, if I just want to know the concentration of product, again final minus initial. So what I am going to get? I am going to get 4 molar, and it is obviously in positive, that means increase. So that is why I haven't put any kind of sign with the products indicating that there is an increase in the concentration of product. So this is the reason why we put negative sign. I think it's clear. Now, when we talk about the rate of reaction, units used for the rate of reaction, so as you can see, the rate of reaction is the change in the concentration of chemical species. So the question is now, how the concentration is expressed, like if we talk about liquids, like in what terms you take concentration? Obviously, we take in moles per liter, right? So it is divided by time. That means we are taking time in seconds. So what kind of unit in case of liquids we will be having? We will be having mole per liter per second. This is for liquids. But when you consider gas, you know that the unit somehow change, because in case of gas we take the concentration in terms of partial pressures. So and the partial pressure is denoted in which unit? The atmosphere. So that means the unit become atmosphere per second. So this is strictly for gas and this is strictly for liquids. So see, I think it's clear that again I am just repeating what we did in this topic. I told you that when the reaction is happening, we can talk about the changes occurring at macroscopic level and at molecular level. You know that the collision, about the collisions and all, breaking of bond and new formation of new bond. I took an example for car, the distance time graph, in which I showed you the average speed and instantaneous speed, and I just relate this with the average rate and the instantaneous rate of the reaction, as you all are familiar with what is the rate of reaction actually. So this is what, and then we just I told you about the units which is to be used in case of rate of reaction. So for liquids we will be using mole per liter per second, and for gas we will be using atmosphere per second, because the concentration of gases are expressed in the terms of partial pressure. That means the pressure which they would exert when they are present alone. So this is what is the you can say the rate of the reaction. Now we are